The IFIC wants to reassure the public of the safety of GM foods, so it avoids words like Frankenfoods, Hitler biotech, chemical DNA experiments, manipulate money, safety scientists, radiation roulette, gene splicing, gene gun random. Instead, good PR for GM foods contains words like hybrids, natural order, beauty choice, bounty, crossbreeding, diversity, earth farmer, organic, wholesome. It's basic Freudian Tony Robbins word association. The fact that GM foods are not hybrids that have been subjected to the slow and careful scientific methods of real crossbreeding doesn't really matter. This is pseudoscience, not science. Form is everything and substance just a passing myth. Who do you think funds the International Food Information Council? Take a wild guess. Right, Monsanto, DuPont, Frito-Lay, Coca-Cola, NutraSweet, those in a position to make fortunes from GM foods. As the science of mass control evolved, PR firms developed further guidelines for effective copy. Here are some of the gems: dehumanize the attacked party by labeling and name-calling, speak in glittering generalities using emotionally positive words when covering something up, don't use plain English. Stall for time. Distract, get endorsements from celebrities, churches, sports figures, street people, anyone who has no expertise in the subject at hand. The plain folks ruse us billionaires are just like you. When minimizing outrage, don't say anything memorable, point out the benefits of what just happened, and avoid moral issues. Keep this list. Start watching for these techniques. Not hard to find, look at today's paper or tonight's TV news. See what they're doing. These guys are good. PR firms have become very sophisticated in the preparation of news releases. They have learned how to attach the names of famous scientists to research that those scientists have not even looked at. This is a common occurrence. In this way, the editors of newspapers and TV news shows are often not even aware that an individual release is a total PR fabrication. Or at least they have deniability, right? Stauber tells the amazing story of how leaded gas came into the picture. In 1922, General Motors discovered that adding lead to gasoline gave cars more horsepower. When there was some concern about safety, GM paid the Bureau of Mines to do some fake testing and publish spurious research that proved that inhalation of lead was harmless. Enter Charles Kettering, founder of the world-famous Sloan Kettering Memorial Institute for Medical Research. Charles Kettering also happened to be an executive with General Motors. By some strange coincidence, we soon have the Sloan Kettering Institute issuing reports, stating that lead occurs naturally in the body, and that the body has a way of eliminating low-level exposure. Through its association with the Industrial Hygiene Foundation and PR giant Hill and Knowlton, Sloan Kettering opposed all anti-lead research for years. Without organized scientific opposition, for the next 60 years more and more gasoline became leaded, until by the 1970s, 90th of our gasoline was leaded. Finally it became too obvious to hide that lead was a major carcinogen, and leaded gas was phased out in the late 1980s. But during those 60 years, it is estimated that some 30 million tons of lead were released in vapor form onto American streets and highways. 30 million tons. That is PR, my friends. In 1993, a guy named Peter Huber wrote a new book and coined a new term. The book was Galileo's Revenge and the term was junk science. Huber's shallow thesis was that real science supports technology, industry, and progress. Anything else was suddenly junk science. Not surprisingly, Stauber explains how Huber's book was supported by the industry-backed Manhattan Institute. He organized the Torches of Liberty Brigade, in which suffragettes marched in the parade smoking cigarettes as a mark of women's liberation. Such publicity followed from that one event, that from then on women have felt secure about destroying their own lungs in public, the same way that men have always done. B. Mays also popularized the idea of bacon for breakfast. Not one to turn down a challenge, he set up the advertising format along with the AMA that lasted for nearly 50 years, proving that cigarettes are beneficial to health. Just look at ads in issues of Life or Time from the 40s and 50s. Bernays' job was to reframe an issue, to create a desired image that would put a particular product or concept in a desirable light. B. Mays described the public as a herd that needed to be led. And this herd-like thinking makes people susceptible to leadership. B. Mays never deviated from his fundamental axiom to control the masses without their knowing it. The best PR happens with the people unaware that they are being manipulated. Stauber describes Bernays' rationale like this: the scientific manipulation of public opinion was necessary to overcome chaos and conflict in a democratic society. These early mass persuaders postured themselves as performing a moral service for humanity in general. Democracy was too good for people. They needed to be told what to think, because they were incapable of rational thought by themselves. Here's a paragraph from Bernays' propaganda: those who manipulate the unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government which is the true ruling power of our country. We are governed, our minds molded, our tastes formed, our ideas suggested largely by men we have never heard of. This is a logical result of the way in which our democratic society is organized. Vast numbers of human beings must cooperate in this manner if they are to live together as a smoothly functioning society. In almost every act of our lives, whether in the sphere of politics or business, in our social conduct or our ethical thinking, we are dominated by the relatively small number of persons who understand the mental processes and social patterns of the masses. It is they who pull the wires that control the public mind. Once the possibilities of applying Freudian psychology to mass media were glimpsed, B. Mays soon had more corporate clients than he could handle. Global corporations fell all over themselves courting the new image makers. There were dozens of goods and services and ideas to be sold to a susceptible public. Over the years, these players have had the money to make their images happen. A few examples: Philip Morris, Pfizer, Union Carbide, Allstate, Monsanto, Eli Lilly, Tobacco Industry, Ciba Geigy, Lead Industry, Coors, DuPont, Clorox, Shell Oil, Standard Oil, Procter & Gamble, Boeing, General Motors, Dow Chemical, General Mills, Goodyear. Though world famous within the PR industry, the companies have names we don't know, and for good reason. The best PR goes unnoticed. For decades they have created the opinions that most of us were raised with, on virtually any issue which has the remotest commercial value, including pharmaceutical drugs, vaccines, medicine, as a profession, alternative medicine, fluoridation of city water, chlorine, household cleaning products, tobacco, dioxin, global warming, leaded gasoline, cancer research and treatment, pollution of the oceans, forests and lumber, images of celebrities, including damage control, crisis and disaster management, genetically modified foods, aspartame, food additives, processed foods, dental amalgams. Lesson number 1: Bernays learned early on that the most effective way to create credibility for a product or an image was by independent third-party endorsement.